When I was starting watch collecting, my friend who was already a watch collector at the time told me that eventually I will need a couple of fun watches. And if this is not fun, then I don't know what it is. Actually, I don't know what it is. I don't think I need to introduce the brand much. Zelos has been around since 2014, based in Singapore, and their motto is innovative watchmaking that dares. And you gotta give them that. They usually drop very limited run of watches for better or worse, because first time I noticed them was when I wanted to buy their Aurora Field Titanium. That was sold right away. Ever since then I was kind of waiting for the right impulse, because to be completely honest, I'm not a big fan of most of their designs. And I never really felt like I needed one until one day I accidentally, and I swear to God accidentally, although my wife doesn't believe me, I opened their web right when they were dropping the new Swordfish Field. And I saw this Mother of Pearl launch special with the early bird discount. It right away reminded me of the Aurora I missed and a little bit of the Ginza Alpinist that I really like and is super expensive. But again, what the hell did I actually buy? It's called Swordfish Field. This is what most people would have in mind when you say field watch. Hamilton khaki. Simple, legible, low key. Yeah, I think Zelos didn't really get the memo of what a field watch is. Let's not think about it as a field watch. Trust me, it's gonna be a lot easier. It's a fun watch with quite unique things that I haven't seen before. Let's put dimensions in the context. It's a 38mm diameter, luck to luck of 44mm, thickness 12, and luck width 20mm. That doesn't sound much, but it feels like a chunky thing. I picked it up for the first time in this awesome 3-slot watch roll it comes in, which is really good quality and is actually usable unlike, watch box. The height immediately struck me, but it wasn't because the watch would be that much thicker than anything else. It's only 12mm. It was because it comes on this rather thin bracelet. 20mm non-tapering bracelet. And it felt out of place, too thin, like the watch head was sticking out. I wasn't really sure about it. For comparison, let me show you my second Microbrand watch, the $4 Cambrian you might have seen before in my previous videos. 300-meter diver. The bracelet kind of feels like it belongs to it. But, and it's a big but, the bracelet is actually great. Solid links, solid end links, held together with screws, beautifully finished. Almost entirely brushed with thin high polish chamfered edge, and it fits to the case flawlessly. The light blade that comes out of it is just gorgeous to look at. So I gave it a chance. I gave it a chance for one more reason, and that is the clasp. It's one of those on-the-flight micro-adjustment ones. And it's great. It provides you perfect fit. In theory. It looks horrible when it's fully extended, so I don't know why anybody would wear it that way. Plus, the mechanism as such doesn't feel exactly secure. When I wear the watch tighter and I bend my hand, it loosens itself up. Nevertheless, it's more positive than negative, so I ended up keeping the watch on it. Oh, I forgot to mention it comes on those double quick release spring bars that are practical if you want to swap the bracelet, which I don't. Bit useless. The case is actually very cool too. Sharp, different, angular, pretty complex. Just look how many times it switches from high polish to brushed and wear. Brushed, polished, and brushed again. It's all very well, and I mean very well finished. The high polish parts in particular are on par with my Alpinist. Look at this high polish line. It follows the chamfered edge like on most watches. But where you expect it to turn down the edge of the lock, it follows the bezel, and it turns down on the other side of the lock, going right to the top of the high polish line on the bracelet. It's cool. It makes the illusion that the bezel is bigger when you look at it from the top, but when you slightly twist it, it reflects the light differently. Then there is this brushed section in between the locks that follows the thickness of the bracelet. It's cool. It all plays with the light in a way that I haven't seen before. And that is a sentence I never thought I would say about a field watch. Then there is the crown. And holy crap, what a crown it is. It looks almost comically big next to the smaller dial. But it's insanely grippy, screwed down and signed. And it's actually signed with a loom. It's cool. It operates Seiko NH38 inside. Reliable 3 Hz evergreen that we all know and love. Plus, true no-date movement on a watch with no date. No ghost date position. And I was starting to believe this wasn't even possible. It's very smooth to screw and unscrew and almost too smooth to wind the movement. Zero complaints to the crown department at Zelos. And look at the caseback. That's nice in it. Screwed down and very, very nicely finished. With the raised high polish swordfish in the middle because field watch. Some specs around individual number of the model as this is limited run. And then the name of the model. Trying to yet again convince me that this is a field watch. It's cool. And finally, let's move to the main thing, the real party trick here, the dial. Now in my first video I said how much I liked that the dial on the Kamasu somehow manages to look different depending on the light you expose it to. This takes that idea to a whole new level. Game even. It dynamically changes not only depending on the light you expose it to, but to a slightest change of the angle you're looking at it. And it's just spectacular to look at in most cases. The individual tiles light up almost as if you turned one off and turn on the other. The logo is applied and again a little bit too low for my liking. The mini track is all the way at the edge, loomed and has this 24-hour military time markers where you would normally expect 5 minutes increments in those orange triangle things. The printed numerals and the military style mini track is probably the only reason why you would call it field watch. The printed numerals tend to disappear against the busy dial. But the legibility is not actually as bad as it might seem. The crystal covering the dial is flat sapphire with inner anti-reflective coating. The handset, and I don't really know what to call the style, are pretty thick, high polish, and the high polish part tend to disappear against the busy dial. But what doesn't tend to disappear is the part with the loom. Pretty generous part with the loom. The minute hand has this ornament thing in the middle to further distinguish it from the hour hand, and it works. The second hand has a loom too in this section that matches the counterbalance. The only text at the dial is the water resistant rating down at 6, and that is almost invisible. And the loom isn't bad. But I was probably expecting more after all those reviews. It's quite spectacular to look at when you turn off the light. Zelos is known to use more colors of the loom, but the longevity just isn't there. Definitely far from something like my Kamasu. But to be fair, I haven't got to try any of their divers, and this is a field watch in some other universe. And as such, the loom is a lot better than on my Kaki. It is altogether undoubtedly unusual experience. Definitely unusual for field watch. See, this is not a paid promotion. I bought it with my own money. And I got it for a couple of reasons. I finally wanted to try a watch from Zelos. They are almost generally praised in all the YouTube reviews. And I wanted to see if the hype is justified. And then, because the dial just got me. It's so different than anything else I've got. It's a lot flashier than anything else I've got. It's cool. I just wasn't sure I was cool enough to pull it off. My wardrobe almost exclusively consists from black and white t-shirts. Almost. But I actually ended up wearing it. And quite a bit. Having the watch for quite some time now, I think I can say whether or not the hype around Zelos is justified. And I would say it mostly is. I mean, the watch is very well made, except for the self-loosening automatic clasp. There are no other QC issues I found. But with microbrands in particular, I think most collectors tend to look at this specs on paper, the value for money. And there, the hype isn't all that justified in my opinion. See, I got this launch special with the early bird discount for $330. With import tax, it was almost $450 here in Spain. And that feels a little bit too steep for NH-powered microbrand. Plus, without the launch discount, the watch is now $399. With the import taxes, we are getting somewhere where this watch has no rights to be, I'm afraid. Like dangerously close to my Fujitsu, for instance, and that is a big brand, a lot better spec watch. And just for comparison, let me show you my Cambrian again. In my opinion, just as well finished 300-meter diver. That is $200. Also limited run. Plus you get a lot more in the packaging, additional straps, tools and so on. And 2 years of warranty, not only one. Look, it's still very well made watch from one of the more recognizable microbrands out there, with very unusual, original design. The brand has its own design language. The watches are in very limited runs, which appeal to a lot of collectors. If all that is what you're buying into, and you know it, that you want to support the originality and the innovative watchmaking that theirs, then yeah, I don't think you will regret it. You just won't get the best deal out there, but you will get something unique. This particular mother of pearl launch special dial is sold out, but there are others still available. And I really do think it's a cool watch. Let me down in the comments your experience with Zelos watches. Do you have any? Do you have any of their divers? I'm really curious about it. Having that said, that has been it for today, guys. As usual, thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, I thank you for watching this far. And maybe in the next one, cheers. This is Watch and my name is Karl.